Okay, here we go. Ooh, still fiddling around with lights. All right. Hi. I'm so glad you guys are going to be here with me this week. Oh, let me do this because, typical me. Always got to have my hair. Got to do something with the hair. There we go. That's better. Now I look like me. So, good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is the first day of my entire launch and birthday celebration, and I am so glad you're here. Yay! I'm so happy. So, do let me know that you're here. Say hi. Drop a little who you are and where you're from. I'd love to know. So for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to meet me or are just sort of new to the whole shebang, my name is Corina, and I was affectionately known as Auntie Corina for over 15 years when I ran my licensed family daycare in my home. Now, what's really interesting about that is that I never thought I was going to be a daycare provider. As a matter of fact, I really never thought that was where I was going to end up. But everything in my life has aligned for me to get me to that point. And it was a natural thing. I always wanted a really big family, and I always wanted to have lots of kids. And I had two amazing boys that I absolutely adore. They are all grown now. As a matter of fact, one of them was going to be 30 in about 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? 30 years old. Oh my gosh. So when I was raising my kids, I did a lot of exactly what you're doing. I did all the, I read books and I asked my friends, and of course I asked my mom. And, sometimes things would work and sometimes it got a little easier, but for the most part of it, it was all trial and error that got me to being more comfortable and more confident. And it's like anything, when you start out a new skill, like you're learning to ride a bike or you're learning a new program, it's really clunky and the learning curve is really steep. And that's exactly the way it is with parenting. And one of the things that I found is that we have to get over the fact that we think that parenting is a natural thing, because trust me, parenting is the most unnatural thing that we are ever going to have. We are used to, if you go back to sort of the caveman days, basically keeping them alive so they can procreate, okay? So this actual parenting and guiding and teaching and consequences and all the stuff that we have to do nowadays is completely foreign to us. Now, we're also community-driven beings, especially moms. It's in our DNA to connect with other moms, to be around them, to observe, to learn, to share, to take turns with our kids, and to support each other. Well, in the last year and a half, we really have been like forced into a position where that isn't even an option. And even before that, I was finding there was more and more dissociation between moms and their friends and their support systems based on work, based on working from home, based on moving and not being, nearby with your family. Communities getting more disconnected, neighbors that don't really talk to each other, or really know each other and support each other and hang out together. So all of this has kind of created this even more isolated way of being as a mom. And I think it's just awful. And I know how isolated and alone I felt at times when I was raising my boys. Seriously, I cried sometimes because I felt so alone. And I felt like nobody understood. Nobody was going through what I was going through. Nobody could could fix it or help me. Well, I'm here to tell you that I actually can. So I want to prevent you from ever having to feel like anything like that. So today I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of an insight into sort of how I find it easy to raise or to parent kids and to guide them and teach them. So I spent years and years and years while I was a mom and becoming a Little Ash League leader and, working with the Cubs and Scouts. And what are some of the other things I did? Oh my goodness, so many things. Anything that could deal with kids, I was like up to mom groups and going on field trips with the kids in their school. So anything I could do to get my hands on being around kids, I was there. I was just all over that, like nobody's business. It's what I did. I loved it. All the teachers used to come up to me and go, Corina, could you? And I'm like, oh, sure, no problem. They had the one kid that, was kind of the odd kid, a little bit left out. Like, would you mind kind of keeping? I'm like, oh yeah, just bring him over. It's fine. So the more challenging a kid's behavior became, the more excited I became, because as I got more and more adept through not only reading and my own learning and observing, because I was in a lot of groups back then that had large groups of moms, sometimes 10 or 15 of us at a time, not only did I get a lot of experience through observation, I also got a lot of experience from reading all the books that I had to when I was becoming a Lelesh leader. Now, they're really strict about that. So one of the things that I remember, we had to write this essay, and it was all about food. I know it doesn't have to do with a lot with behavior, but that's a different conversation because anyways, you'll get it. So I was supposed to write this 500-page, like 500-word essay, and I basically wrote in, put in junk, feel like junk, done. And they were like, yeah. So that's sort of where all of this has sort of come from. Now, kids by nature are going to do crap that is going to drive you absolutely banana sandwiches. Now, there's two reasons that they're going to do that. Kids' behavior always has an underlying reason to it, whether you recognize it or not. Kids' behavior is innately designed to either get something or to avoid something. Why? It's how we're built. When a baby cries, they want to get your attention because they might be hungry or tired or dirty, right? Or your kids may be like, I need 17 glasses of water and 5 stories and four extra kisses goodnight before they go to sleep, because they're trying to avoid the behavior. So do you see where I'm going with that? Does that make a little bit of sense? Let me know if that's kind of resonating with you. Because once I started to figure out, okay, the behavior isn't necessarily designed to make me insane. It's not always like where I'm thinking like, you are just doing this to make me nuts. And a mummy does not have enough mommy juice to make it all better. So once I sort of figured out that, okay, wait a minute, there's a reason why they're doing the behaviors that they're doing. It's not just arbitrary. It's not just to piss me off. It's not just to ask me why for the 15,000th time. So what I've kind of figured out is that once I sort of was able to kind of categorize, okay, are they needing or wanting something? That was first. But the second thing that I found was really important was to not necessarily do the knee-jerk, stop it! Cut it out! Right? Who's done that? Yeah, many, many times. Knock it off, right? You've done that. You've hollered down the hall. And your kids it's like they're deaf. It's like you could say the same thing 50 times and they're just going to look at you like, oh, did you say something? Yeah, been there, done that. Hello. So there's a little secret. There's a little secret. I'm going to give you a little something here. And it's kind of, this is sort of how I teach my parents, right? Like I teach them sort of the psychology behind it so that it becomes more understandable. So we're not so reactive, because being a reactive parent makes us crazy. And by default makes our kids crazy, because if we feel out of control, they feel out of control. Why? Because we're the barometer of the family. True story. Okay, so when they are acting, there's often, like you said, we're looking at the two things, are either avoiding or wanting something, but sometimes we have to look behind the behavior. Now, is it that really you have kind of been, all day, because you've been busy? Is it because they're really tired or they're hungry or they're just like bored out of their tree? I have a trick for bored kids. Works really, really well when they're a little bit older, about 4 years old. And it's a great one. Message me about it. I'll tell you, it's very cool. It's a lot of fun. And then the other thing is that when they're, it could be hungry, tired. It could be they're bored out of their tree. It could be that they aren't feeling well. It could be that they're just reading your energy of kind of feeling lost. And when we kind of stop for a moment and realize, oh, and just so you know, sometimes kids are just toads. 100%. I'm going to give you all this psychology and stuff, but there's sometimes kids are just double S's. Just saying. It's okay. We love them anyways, but we don't always have to like our kids. So when I'm looking at the behavior, I'm looking at what they're doing, I'm looking at that tantrum, I'm looking at them throwing that toy, incessantly, and I'm looking at what they are doing, I am going to go, don't throw the toy. Throw the toy. Don't pinch your brother. Pinch your brother. Don't bite the dog. Don't paint the dog. All these different things. When you're saying that to your kids and they keep doing it, They're doing, again, one of two things. Do you like that? Everything's one or the other. I like it. It's like A and B choices. You can have toast or oatmeal. Anyways, different conversation. But when you look at the kids and they're just ignoring you, it's like, okay. So in likelihood, they're doing it for, like I said, two reasons. Number one, they think you're full of bologna sandwiches and you don't follow through. And they're just kind of going, yeah, whatever, mom, talk to the hand, because you've been there, done that. And what do? Same thing over and over again with no change in behavior. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Yes, it is. So we're going to change the insanity. And the other thing is they boundary check. And I think this is really important to know that sometimes your kids will go and do stuff that they intentionally will go and do stuff to check and see if you really meant business. Is that rule still there? Is that boundary still in place? So I noticed this over the years, and it's my own little theory, and I've yet to have anybody think I am crazy. I'm medicated, not crazy. It's a difference. And I said, did you ever notice that for 6 months of the year, your kids are like so easy? You're like, oh my gosh, this parenting thing, I got it, easy peasy, fresh and squeezy, right? And then there's other times you're like, oh my God, would you please, I want to stick them out front, put a for sale sign and offer people money to take them away because they're horrible. And I figured out that it's this. In the 6 months that they're doing really awesome and they're easy, their brains and their bodies are all connected. They've checked all the boundaries. You're being really consistent. They're not growing. Everything, their emotional state, everything is connected. And then all of a sudden they start to grow. Their emotional levels grow. Their physical bodies start to grow. Their friends, everything starts to grow. They kind of go through this growth period, and it's kind of like they suddenly start falling and crashing around. They tantrum easier. They argue more. They're checking all the rules all the time. So hang tight. This is what I teach you. I teach you this stuff I teach it to every single client I work with, because when you sort of understand that there's going to be 6 months your kids are going to be great, and 6 months they're going to just be like, give you gray hair. And if you look close, I have lots. I do. I have lots of gray hair, and I'm proud of it. So when you are able to kind of understand that behavior has reasons behind it, there's a meaning behind it, there's a question behind it, and that they're asking for something, or they need to check in with you. It's when we don't have this understanding that we tend to be really reactive. We scream, we yell, we spank, we take stuff away. We're like, I don't want to hear it. Do what I told you, right? We've done it. Doesn't make you a bad parent, okay? It doesn't, honest. I promise. Cross my heart. Boy Scout, Girl Scout, whatever it is. I never did any of that. What I'm trying to tell you is that parenting is a skill, and we are so ill-equipped, especially nowadays when there is this literal cacophony. Do you want to know how long it took me to learn to say that word? I had to practice. But this incredible amount of noise. Align your child's chakra, allow them to be who they are, free range parenting, strict parenting, spank your child, don't spank your child, let them stay all up all night, put them to bed at 7 o'clock. You get where I'm going? There is so much noise. Plus, it's like everybody has their magnifying glass out and they're all, what are you doing with your kid? Through the curtains. And everybody's up everybody's grill. It seems like we just can't even say, don't do that, without somebody reporting us. So somebody needs to be the voice of reason in this mess. And that's me. I'm the voice of reason, because what I do is so simple, so easy, so usable, and it makes almost instant changes. I have so many parents that have been on my lives in my group where I go every Friday just about, and I teach something about kids' behavior and how to deal with it using the 3 pillars of my parenting, which is behavior, which we talked about today, and then communication and follow through. And I've had moms send me a message going, I can't believe it. I did what you just said, and immediately my kids were listening better. She goes, how did you do that? That's what 30 years of practice does. You've only had 5, 7, 9. So it's completely okay that you aren't as adept at it. Listen, don't give me math, okay? Math is not my lane. Give me kids, like a hot damn. I get them. I understand them. And I want you to be able to parent easier, because with everybody up your grill and in your business, it's really hard to know if you're doing the right thing. You know, sometimes we get upset, or we've had a long day, or we're tired, or we've been up with the kids because they've been puking all night, and then the cat hacks up a hairball and the dog decides, oh, I forgot to tell you that I need to go potty. And anyways, you get where I'm at. And there's going to be times where we're just going to lose our schnizzle. It happens. But I don't want you to be in the position that I hear so many moms where they feel guilty. They feel guilty that they don't understand their kids. They feel guilty because they're like, no, I can't. I've got to get this training done. I've got to get this email out. I've got to get this invoice out. Oh my God, my house is a mess. The kids are all over the place. You know, and the fishbowl stinks. It's enough. You're doing the best you can with what you've got, okay? And there's always going to be room for improvement. I am still always learning. I've always got my ears open. I'm always watching what's going on. I keep my finger on the pulse of what is going on with kids. To be honest, not much has changed. When you've been doing it as long as I have, you just get it. I look at them through Zoom, through a camera, and I can pick what's going on with them. Pretty much like that. It's just my skill set. Other people, your business coach, for example, can just look at your stuff and go, oh, girl, why aren't you doing that? And I'll be like, I've done this. Why can't I see that? She goes, this is not your lane. And I'm like, why can't I see this? I should see this by now. She goes, but it's okay. And that's what it is. We need to get past this idea that we need to figure this out on our own. Okay, you know what? All that does is take you the long, hard ways. Like when you're doing your business, nobody thinks twice about asking a business coach. Or if you're doing financial planning, nobody thinks of anything about going to a financial planner who is experienced, who that is where their lane is, that is going to guide you and give you the tools that you need to enact and get the result you want. Whether that be a successful business, whether that be a kick-ass portfolio by the time you retire, it's the same thing. And that's what I do. So I'm going to end it here because this has been an amazing live. I'm so excited. This one just flowed. It was so much fun. No, I generally don't have notes. No, I don't read a script. This is how I think. So what you see here is exactly what you're going to get when you work with me. Trust me. And I also think it's really important that we laugh, that we take some time, and sometimes all we need to do is sit there and laugh. Got a little quick story before I sign off. I had my two boys. We had gone to Safeway back in the day. One was only about 6 months. The other one was about 2. And I came home, did this huge shop. Everybody was hungry. It was tired. Bad plan. Don't go before dinner time. But I did. I came home, had all the groceries coming out, and I dropped a 4-liter jug of milk. And my eldest son looked at it and went, uh-oh. And I just looked at the mess. And the milk was everywhere. And I just started laughing. Could have lost my schnizzle. Could have gotten angry. But I just stood there and went, I just had to laugh. So sometimes we just need to take that break, take that moment, and recognize that there is some humor in it. So parenting doesn't always have to be serious stuff. Sometimes acting a bit silly can totally change behavior, can change how you react, and your kids are reacting around you just by being a little bit silly. So if you know me, you know I love to be silly. It's like the inner kid in me. So much fun. All right. So make sure you have scrolled back in and looked at the timeline, the discussion line in this event that I've created for you to celebrate not only my birthday on Saturday, but to this really amazing program that I've been working for months on just for you. So tomorrow I'll be back at 2 o'clock, same time, same stations, same bat channel, and we're going to talk about communication and how we can actually talk to our kids so they're going to hear us the first time. But I'll leave you that for tomorrow. If you have any questions, anything you want to know, you let me know. My inbox is always open. I will always answer you to the best of my ability as quickly as possible. All right, you guys, over and out. I am out of here. You have an amazing day, and we will see you tomorrow. All right, you guys, bye.